What up, what up? It's your boy Malloy. Welcome to the Millions, Billions, Trillions podcast. Top it up. I'm excited.
I'm going to give you guys a little bit of what's going on. First of all, it's funny because we left here last night. We had a meeting last night, and I got home and I was looking at Instagram and it was just going off. Mm-hmm. And so
it's always some shit.
It was going off. You know, I check gossip in the city. I love gossip in the city.
Okay.
There's a chick named Fee that runs it and she do her thing.
Okay.
Either way, so it looks like Jack Harlow is actually being nominated for a Grammy. For best rap, which I think is really interesting because in the meantime you got the girls Nicki and Lotto are beefing over.
I saw that.
Yeah, they're beefing. It's unfortunate because Lotto's only like 23, Nicki's like close to 40, I think, and so she's like, everybody's like, give Lotto a shot, you know. Yeah. Either way, the deal is Nicki's saying that her song's Super Freak. If that's going to be considered pop and not hip hop rap, then she's saying that Lotto's Big Energy should be doing the same thing as well. So that's something they got going on.
Well, take me back. I'm sorry. You got to forgive me. Because it's going to be education 101. I know Nicki and I know Lotto, of course. But who is Jack Harlow?
He sings that song that's like a Fergie remake, like
First Class.
Yeah, I can't sing. I'm not sure it.
Yes, Grammys. So Brandy came out.
Brandy came out with
got
him.
You. Okay.
So he's pretty dope. But I mean, they just saying he's not.
You know why I don't get into the whole thing when it comes to that? Being in the entertainment industry, I do know that billboards and all of those different charts are very about positioning and politicking. Absolutely. So I just feel like we all we got. It's only a few of y'all. Stick together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to announce that I'm a Grammy nominated songwriter and producer and an ASCAP award.
Yo, he wanted us to do that. He wanted us to announce that.
You know, I'm very accomplished.
I forgot we should have put that in the press today.
In the music stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I've been doing this a long time.
What else you did?
Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff. I want to let y'all share some stuff I done did.
Okay.
Oh, well, you was
my last nerve.
We was going to let you. You were doing a good job, sir.
What else is going on the press, y'all? Come on, get up off
Lastly, I'm gonna tell y'all the last one, and I don't know if I want to say I'm sad about it, but Faith has gone through with divorce from Stevie, and I like both
Faith.
of them.
That is so sad.
Faith is like one of our hometown heroes. She's from Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And you know,
that's my girl.
I love
Faith.
her.
They're going through a divorce.
Love her.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I'm good friends with Faith and Stevie,
that's
and I
nice.
pray nothing but the best
That
for
is
them, and that they're
really
able
nice.
to elevate from this experience, and they were able to experience each other. I know you always talk about we're here to just experience each other. It may have just been for a moment, and they may have done something.
Well, there's
for
a
each
lot
other
of
in that moment.
experience,
but there's a lot
unfolding.
There's a lot of that happening in Hollywood.
Absolutely, because we have Tia and Corey Hardrick.
I love them.
I think
I
that's
love
how
you,
you say
Tia.
his name. But then Cynthia Bailey and Mike Hill. They're separated. Somebody said Miguel.
So the first one got married so young, Tia, and then they got married so old.
This is the thing, Vaughn.
And they got married during COVID. They had that wedding.
You had that wedding. That's what I'm saying. Don't do all of that during COVID.
But
married during COVID.
Niggas is stuck during COVID.
But this is the thing.
Oh my God, I might die.
Well, that's what's going to expose it. Because if I'm indoors with you 24/7, can we exist?
Yeah.
Can we make it out of here?
And the thing about it is people are tired.
They ain't make it.
Oh,
At the end of the day, people are tired. And this is what I preach. I'm all about trying to elevate and come together and stick together and work it out. But the truth is, life is but a vapor. Life is too short to live.
Wait.
Well, I think I got that from Shakespeare.
No, you got it from the Word. The Bible.
Vapor.
I'm sorry.
Game time!
Yeah.
Clap it up for game time! Jay.
I love that so much. Y'all want to play a game?
Dude.
Let's play a game.
Okay, so today, y'all, I have a great game called Let's Get Deep.
All right.
Y'all want to get, you know about deepness, don't you?
But how deep we going?
Oh, okay.
You say deep, everybody got their own idea what you talking
I don't know about that, Jay.
I think you know.
I don't know
Well, I
about
think
that,
too, because he
Jay.
got the cars flipped over, so I'm like, what's good?
Okay.
Where we go?
Okay, so when you flip the cards over, you're going to ask us a question, or you going to answer it first?
I can answer it first.
Be an example.
I don't have anything to hide.
I don't need you to be an example in the kingdom.
I don't have anything to hide.
Okay.
Are y'all ready?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Flipping over. Ooh.
Oh, Lord.
If you could find out how and when you die, would you want to know? Ponder that. I would. Tell me how long I got,
Okay.
so I can live to the fullest, and I could just wild out and have a great time
But what if it's tomorrow?
Ooh. Well, look now. See, if it's tomorrow, that's
because see, we said when and where, but we thinking that we got time. So what if it's tomorrow?
If it's tomorrow, I want to see everybody. I want to come and see everybody. I would still want to know though.
Right. So
I still want to know.
Let me ask you this, Jack.
Oh,
so this your last day on Earth.
Last day. Yeah.
And you gonna go see everybody.
Whoa.
You gonna go see everybody on
your last day.
So you're still go. Here's the sad part. Most of us live our lives pleasing everybody else. We never take care of ourselves.
So
you're still telling me on your very last day, you're gonna make sure all of them get to see you. You're not going to do what it is you may have wanted to do for yourself. Because I'm sure there's a lot of things you may have wanted to do for yourself. I don't care if it's just go be with that love of yours for one last time. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's going skydiving. I don't care. But you're talking about everybody except for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
We didn't have to do this on the show.
I'm just saying.
We didn't have to do this on the show.
But I want to know, like, to that point, what made you say I'm going to go see everybody?
Because I know when my last day is, but everybody else doesn't. So I want to go and at least say goodbye.
And I think if I could,
because nobody really gets to say goodbye right before they die.
If I could jump
sometimes
in on
they
that,
do.
If I could jump in on that, and I'm not. It's not my turn to answer the question, but to help on that part, I'm thinking he probably knows how much his death would affect the people he's saying goodbye to.
I see that.
So I think we're often thinking about, because the truth is, if my day was tomorrow, I probably would spend it with my mother. So you know what I mean. So I feel you. I feel you on that. How about you, Masada?
Because the truth is, you're giving her last moments.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're gone tomorrow.
Yep.
So it's not about you. It is about somebody else.
So,
but to Masada's point, though, she's saying we look external for things, which I think can go so much deeper than if you know the last day that you're going to die.
Yeah.
But I see that point.
So answer the question, Masada. Do you want to know?
Well, I mean, where I am right now, I do plan on elevating past this point, right?
Okay.
So if I got to say where I am right now, how my mind works right now, I think I would just want to be surrounded with my children. I would want to be with my children.
Well, that's the second part of the question. The question is,
do you want to know?
Yeah.
When?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And how?
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Because I wouldn't live my life till its fullest.
The anxiety would kill you.
Like, when is it happening? And what's,
Yeah.
No, I just want to know.
Well, if I could be honest with you all, to answer this question, death is actually my biggest fear.
Really?
On earth. The thought of it, the seeing it, hearing about it, it literally triggers my anxiety to the next level. Some nights I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about losing people that I love.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the worst creations in the world, is putting people together to fall in love and then tearing them apart. I think death is the worst pain. I've seen people die from broken hearts from other people dying.
Yeah.
It's another level of pain, and it still triggers me to this day thinking about the day. I lost my father when I was 13, and that hurt me. And I'm still, facing that trauma, but it's something about losing a mom. So now every day I'm waking up
there's
like, oh my God.
something about losing a mom. Cause see,
don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Because we're going to get to the next
question.
So
to answer the question,
but
I don't want to know, because I deal with anxiety.
Period.
And I wouldn't be able to live.
Yep. But can I say this? That goes back to the experience of it all. The only reason you get caught on losing people is because you're looking at it like you own them, like a possession. Ooh. They are only an experience. I'm telling you,
I don't think it has anything to do with ownership.
No, baby, listen. But let me say this. When you can just look at a person like, we are individuals. We really literally have come here as individuals. Sure, your mom was a vessel for you to get here. You know what I mean? Your father partook in that. But this is your experience. And when you can, like, when people go, you miss them and you say, thank you for that. God, that was a great experience. Like when you can learn to look at it like that instead of holding on to it, nothing is forever.
But there's an evolution to get there.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to say, because I'm not there yet.
And I'm not going to get there.
Yeah, me either.
Not you're not going to get there.
I'm not saying everybody's there, but I'm just telling you, it's really the way you look at things. It's about how you look at it.
I think it's about how you look at everything.
Yeah.
But when it comes to death, that may affect me differently than the way it affects you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
people are at peace with the fact that, like, we got to go up out of here sometime.
Yeah, and I'm not there.
But not everyone in the culture they do, right?
Yeah, I do.
There are some Christians and some believers who celebrate.
We celebrate. I don't want to stare at no dead body for 3 hours either.
Well, you already know.
Nah.
First of all, I ain't going.
Close it up.
Yeah, I stopped going to funerals a long time ago.
It's traumatic.
I'm done with them.
Yeah, I
Right?
can't do it.
First of all, the viewing is the day before for 5 hours. Why are we sitting in that damn funeral home for 5 hours staring at the body? And then the next day, we get up for 2 hours to view the body one last time, and then we go stand around the casket.
And we watch them lower the body into
all of that dramatic stuff.
Yeah, but even before we get to the funeral, there's a funeral home experience.
Yeah.
Y'all
went and saw Granddaddy at the funeral home?
There's a funeral home experience, which has its own traumas.
Yeah.
And honestly, you can't unsee what you saw.
Yeah.
And can I be honest with you? Y'all gonna love this.
What?
Us in the black community too, we love being the bearer of bad news.
Oh my God.
So do you understand? All I can hear
first
is
caller, first responder.
Hey babe,
Man,
you know so and so passed.
but
we're really calling because we want to hear your response. We want the reaction.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you my favorite thing that I've told my mother. Y'all can call me whatever y'all want. I said, Mommy, listen. If you, because my mother loves calling you 2 o'clock. Yeah, my great aunt, I don't even know her. And it's 3 in the morning. What do you want me to say? I'm so sorry, Mommy. I apologize. I'm sorry she's gone. But you knew she was going to go too. So stop.
Yeah.
So listen, then the other thing is this. I've told my mother, Mommy, no lie. I turn my ring off at night because even if you die, if somebody calls me 2 o'clock in the morning, there's nothing I can do. I need my rest. I'm going to wake up and I will be there. I'd rather be rested.
I'm coming to your church. What time the Buddha's? What time the Buddha's?
I can't turn my phone off at night.
But why would you want to break your sleep?
You know why?
And go deal with something that you have no control over.
Because we want everybody around us to be just as traumatized and to be in the same place.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, you said something about the fear.
No, you were because you were saying how you're afraid people are going to pass. People who haven't even passed. It's almost like you manifested, so you better be careful.
Right.
And fear is nothing but the absence of God. And so for you to say in one you say over here like I'm Christian and I believe in this and I believe in that. You can't ride the fence.
But
you gotta pick a side.
Don't you attack my
Okay, so can we break down the context of fear though? Because we're talking about fear of dying.
You're afraid.
Yeah.
You're
okay, so what if a gun is to your head? Are you not afraid?
No, this is what I'm saying. If a gun is to my head, that is the absence of God. This person is crazy. They're sitting there. This is devilish. You're sitting there.
The absence of God from that person or from you?
I'm wanting to hear it first.
No, what I'm saying is from them. So I'm afraid because I'm seeing, hold up, this ain't godly right here. This don't feel,
Okay, that helped me. That's why I asked the question because the way that you're looking at people who pass is that is God ordained.
No. I'm
right?
not. Back up.
Okay.
What are you saying? I'm trying to say what you're saying.
Fix it. So you said that the fear, right? I'm saying what you're saying as far as fear being the absence of God. So when it comes to bereavement or people dying, do you feel like that's God ordained and that's why we should not fear dying?
Absolutely, because
but if there is a gun to your head, that's a natural human inclination of fear.
But you'd be surprised. I mean, people wouldn't be scared.
I agree 100%.
But we're not talking about them.
We're talking about them. I'm asking you, are you fearful?
Right now in my life, if somebody put a gun to my head,
absolutely.
You never know though. You never know.
That's true too.
Okay.
You never know.
And can I be honest with you? You talk about walking the fence, and I think we, as a Christian man, but I'm a woke Christian, so I'm not a religious Christian.
Right.
So the truth is, I think there's a
break it down.
Peace to the gods.
And let me Grand Risings Queen.
Please stop.
Oh, not today.
So what I mean by that is, you said you can't straddle the fence when it comes to that, but I think
I ain't saying you can't, you shouldn't is what I'm thinking.
But I'm gonna tell you that I straddle the fence when it comes to religion and God, because the truth is it's all a faith walk and I've never seen them.
Right.
So the truth is that's faith all by itself. Just even trusting that God exists to even want Him in my life to protect me from the fear that I have. So we all walking by faith to a degree.
So let's go here. So let's go here. You believe in manifestation, right? You believe in manifesting things?
I do.
So if you manifest greatness, if you start to think this is what I want, this is what it's going to be, right? If you start to think this is coming, it's eventually anything you think is coming.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why when I say pick a side, pick to be great.
I can hear that.
I get it.
Pick to be great.
Definitely hear that.
Pick for people to live their lives to the fullest.
You hold me
Like
accountable.
that. Now I'm not.
You hold me accountable. I like that. I like
And
that.
I'm gonna say this: I'm not anticipatory of death, but when death happens, then that's a difference.
That's a different. None of us really know what we're gonna do until it happens. Like you said, that you lose a mother.
That's right.
My mother has called me since I've been sitting here.
Yeah.
So I can't say what I'll do.
And the truth is, and I don't want to tell your story, but me and you have always talked about the loss of your mom, who was a godmom to me, and you did things at the funeral home that you probably thought you would never do.
Absolutely. I mean, living without her, period, is a testament of I never thought that I would. But it doesn't change the pain. Yeah. Right. And so I think that, let me just say this. So the other day, my best friend, she actually sent me on IG a book called How We Heal. But here's what she's saying. As I heal, I learn that we are never fully healed. There's no such thing. Wow. In my new book, I talk about why I am no longer working towards being healed. I can have a beautiful and easeful life and still, in capital letters, have things that may be hurting. There's nothing wrong with me or you for still needing to tend to some of our pain points. It is deeply vulnerable and brave to give yourself grace and allow yourself to center joy even when you're figuring out what healing feels and looks like in your life.
That's deep. I gotta say something about that.
Say something about it.
It makes me feel like, does healing really exist? And it's almost like, is that a lifelong process? Does it ever come?
I think healing is ongoing. It's a process.
It's not a destination.
I can admit that I'm not.
Right. You said it.
I am not healed from my past experiences with church.
Church hurt.
I like to call it church abuse.
That's what it is.
So is that a thing, like church hurt is a thing? Start to think, this is what I want. This is what it's going to be, right? If you start to think, this is coming, it's eventually, anything you think is coming.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why when I say pick a side, pick to be great.
I can hear that.
I get it.
Pick to be great.
Definitely hear that.
Pick for people to live their lives to the fullest.
You hold me accountable.
Like that. Now, I'm not
you hold me accountable. I like that.
I am not healed from my past experiences with church.
Church hurt.
I like to call it church abuse.
That's what it is.
So is that a thing, like church hurt is a thing? Okay, I just want to know. I just want to make
church
sure.
abuse. You got to break that down for me.
No. So I'm saying that's a thing that people in church, they call it church hurt.
They call it church hurt.
Okay.
But many times the term church hurt puts the onus on you. Like somebody did something to you and it affected you, so now you are church hurt versus you are hurting because someone abused you. Right? In the church.
It's so
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, but I've often dealt with pastors that were narcissists. Right? And they have this... That's
okay, go ahead. Narcissist.
And so just dealing with these men, and particularly these men that can tell, or that thrive on young men in particular that don't have fathers. Wow. And so they are able to come in and they want to be that father figure.
Yes.
And that's how they get you, right? They get you caught up in...
They go from pastor to daddy.
Yeah. Call me, I'm your spiritual father. I'm your father.
Be praised.
I'm your dad. So
and the way you're making it sound is like this is a recruit event. It's like we're recruiting.
It literally sounds that way.
Wow.
Because
everybody's not like that, but there are a lot.
No,
everybody's
absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm with you.
A lot of them are, and particularly in like college towns. Like I went to FAMU, so like in Tallahassee, then I moved from Tallahassee to Jacksonville. Like these communities where they thrive on being in control. A lot of times I think it's because they don't have control at home.
Yeah.
So when they come into...
Or in the mainstream.
Or they're nobody outside of church. So in church, they need to be worshipped. They need to be adored. They need to be taken care of.
Of course.
Wow.
So one pastor in particular, and I won't call the name and I won't say the city, but he started out liking me. Like not in a fruity way. But he started out liking me, right? Like
not in a fruity way.
Just wanted to clear that up.
Okay.
This one has a little sweetness to it.
No sugar in this one. But
agave.
He started no honey in this.
I can't.
But he, we started out getting along great, and I kind of fell into the I don't know what to call it.
It's the
into
mist.
The trap.
Me and Vaughn call it the mist.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
the mist.
Yeah.
Like being
power.
Like, I am here and I am serving this man.
Yeah.
You know, I was over the youth ministry. I was over the youth praise team. Like I was literally doing all of these things inside of church. So I started noticing things being said over the pulpit. Okay. Like, have you ever been talked about and you know you're being talked about? Or preached on and you know you're being preached on?
He's up and talking about
So
wow.
It is nothing like being preached on over the pulpit because you know they're talking about you and you can't say nothing.
Like during service, he would say,
like during service.
Oh, his whole sermon is like based on you.
Yeah. And so there are these,
like we don't do that in the Buddhist community.
we don't do that. We don't do that over here.
It's another level of abuse. I'm with you.
It is.
Yeah.
And so it started escalating, right? So I would start being preached on a lot. And I'm wondering, like, what have I done?
I mean, are there other members?
What have I?
How
There
did
are
you know
other
it was
members.
you? How did you know it was you?
Because I felt like so. Like I had a
That's
mentor.
what Nicki Minaj said to Lotto. That
No. This is different.
I cannot.
Like I had a mentoring program in the church, and then he would get up and say, "Be careful who mentors your children," and things like that.
Okay, but let me ask you this, because you know my mind starts going. So forgive me, because so he put you over a ministry all to preach about you.
Yeah, because I felt like it was as if the kids that were up under me started to like me and started to more.
So he wasn't getting the glory.
Gravitate to you.
More gravitating towards
Understood.
me.
Oh, that's what that is.
You know what I'm saying?
It's power and control.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but nigga, your name was on the church. Like I literally, this is not my church. I literally leave here and go home.
Yeah.
So one particular Sunday, the kids were singing. These kids had never sang like this before. The organ was ramping up. Everything was going great. Like the crowd was on their feet. Like the kids were really into it. He comes down, because you know the preachers don't be in there when praise and worship is going on. So he comes down he descends from the stairs like
Come down.
like God.
Yeah.
And he comes in, he says, stop. It's in the middle of service. Stop. That was performance. That was not God. And so people are literally looking to the stage, and I'm looking like, I cannot believe this shit is going on. And so everybody's looking at me, I'm looking at him. He says, and I have a problem. I have a problem with Brother Jason.
Wow.
I don't know what your mind has been the last 30 days. Oh, he's going on thick.
So openly rebuking you.
Openly rebuking me in front of the entire church. And it's all being streamed live. Oh my. So I had a problem with Brother Jason. Your spirit isn't here. Your spirit is in these children, and my spirit needs to be in them. So he told me,
baby.
No, wait. No, wait.
You gotta finish.
Here's a good part. He says, so what I need you to do is wipe the sweat. Ooh.
Wow.
Sorry. I need you to wipe the sweat off of my head and lay your hands on these children and tell God, take out your spirit and put in my spirit. And I'm literally...
He said this?
He said this. And so I'm literally like, this is not... It's like an out-of-body experience. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, first of all, I got to put my hands on your nasty-ass head. Like, and you sweating, right? So, I'm like, I know.
You did it?
No, I'm not.
Did you do it?
You did it?
I put my hands on his head, and I took his sweat onto my hands, and I laid hands on the children.
And their parents let you.
Everybody. This is just a.
I'm not in the church. So
No. Yeah, no. You are good.
I'm getting ready to help you with that in a minute. Go ahead.
So I lay hands on the children. And he said, now pray that they get my spirit and not your spirit. And I went to the children and I said, I pray that y'all find a new leader because I can no longer be here with y'all. And I laid hands on each of the 10 children and I sat down for a minute.
So that was your exit?
That was my exit. I sat down for a minute and he, begins to start preaching. Like literally shit just goes on. And I'm just sitting there and people are like, tapping me on the shoulder like, it's okay, it's all right, it's all right. So I get up, like he's preaching or whatever. I get up, I walk out, I go to my car, I go home, and I have not stepped foot in church.
How long ago was that?
This was about 12 years ago.
Did he ever call you? Did he ever wake up from what he did?
You know,
No apology.
I wanna. Y'all gotta let me get this out.
Go ahead.
And you're hearing now from somebody who's been in church all their life. And I remember when the term church hurt went viral for the first time, and a lot of the pastors were getting very egotistical, making jokes like, "Oh, what's the difference between church hurt and work hurt? What's the difference between you being hurt at church and hurt on your job?" But there is a spiritual hypnosis that comes over specifically our culture.
Yeah.
When it comes to black people in church, there's a spiritual hypnosis. These pastors have a different kind of power because they're presenting to you a whole spiritual, presentation.
They're presenting God.
They are the representation of God to you and your life. So I know people that trust their pastors more than they trust their spouses. I know people that trust their pastors more than they trust their bosses at work that'll do whatever they are told to do. You know what I mean? And don't let me get to the other parts of abuse that are in church that we're just taught to just be okay with.
I get it. I live in America, so I've seen it.
Exactly. But it's a whole nother level because black people were already oppressed. So then we go to a whole oppressed movement.
Another level of oppression.
Church where we're idolizing pastors as kings and queens, and so that's why he felt like he needed to go wipe the sweat off of his head.
But I think he said something so critical about there's a void.
Of course.
Right? Because I think a lot of times you said something so critical in the beginning about not having a father and you're looking for something, right? So I think that the absence of then makes you long for, which makes you more vulnerable and open for someone, whether it's preacher or not, to take advantage of you because of what you're seeking. Because we put our trust
and I
in
like
that
what
particular
you said,
person.
Because here's the thing, this is what you have to realize. What you're doing is searching for something outside of yourself. You are a representation of God.
That's the truth.
That's the reality.
We are a representation of God.
We are a representation of God.
Agree.
Yeah.
So it's just like being in a relationship. It's like you as a man looking for a woman to fulfill something for you. You are your happiness. Somebody can add to your happiness, but they can't make you happy.
And there's so many different levels and layers. And again, I can give you an example.
But it's taught.
I can give you an example. Watch this.
Come on, preacher.
We have been taught that this is the way to heaven.
Absolutely.
Watch this.
Yeah.
So while the pastor is sleeping with the lead singer in the choir, and she's getting up and singing in front of his wife, the first lady, yes, that may happen in the White House. That may happen in corporate at a bank. But it's different because I have to do this because this is my way to heaven. So when I'm talking about the spiritual hypnosis that comes over us in church, that's why they get away with it.
Yeah.
And I want to say too, because I think that we have having this platform, it's not everybody. It's not every pastor. Because I think that there are some pastors who truly have a heart for his people, right? So I don't think that everybody is sitting in a seat of power.
Yeah.
But there are people who are narcissists. I think you started out with that, who abuse that position. And so for me, you're not operating under the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
When you're doing that,
but I
right?
think that's why a lot of people don't want those sorts of positions. Like, I'm being honest, like what they say. The Rock the other day said he's not running for president because he likes being a father. Yeah. So I think, first of all, when you take,
but that's a person that doesn't have ego.
No, right. But that's what I'm saying to you.
Yes.
So that's the whole thing. So I'm not knocking pastors, any pastors. But what I will say is, a person who wants to take a position where they are head of a whole bunch of people, that's kind of like a lot of something, but I ain't going to touch it.
Well, a lot of times, but the thing is, it's even worse in church.
That's
because
what I'm saying.
Church is the only place you can get that kind of power with no accreditation in anything. You ain't even got to have a GED to be a pastor in church. You know what I mean? You ain't
got to be called by God.
You just got to be called by God. You ain't got to go through no child clearances to be the youth pastor.
That's where you have.
Nothing.
Look, that's where
that's
you
like
have,
a podcast. You don't have to have nothing to have a podcast.
Exactly. Not another podcast,
It's
Masada.
just another podcast.
But that's where you have to know God for yourself.
That's the truth.
That's where you have to know God for yourself. And I think your village and people that are around you have to be like, Jason, Jay, that's not it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful that was your last day.
Yeah. And
that you took your power back.
That.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was you taking your power back, man. Yeah. And so you said that you're no longer like, I'm not healed. And that was 12 years ago.
And you're not weak. You're strong for leaving. You're strong for walking away.
And let me say this to you, saying like healing never really goes away. I think we learn how to place it. And I think we start to get a different understanding. You start to look at him, the same person that you praised and you put on this pedestal, you start to realize he was sick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then it doesn't hurt so bad because you understand that wasn't godly. Nothing about that was godly. You know, I was dealing with a sick man, but sometimes relationships, we fall into this thing with somebody who has no business having any type of reign over us. And you look back and be like, I let that nigga run me.
You gave him power.
But let me ask you this, though,
you gave
Jason.
him power.
Let me ask you this, Jason. You
Absolutely.
said you don't think you're healed. What is healing to you, and what would it look like if you were healed to whatever that means to you?
So I feel like I'm not healed because I can never tell that story without tearing up.
You'll get past it.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I feel like I can never, like, if I was healed from it, I could be like, yeah, and then that nigga said,
but see, that's
like, I can't
the thing that this book is talking about.
Yeah.
You're looking to arrive at a place.
Run it back.
You're looking to arrive at a place, and I just don't think that is even possible. I
or
feel
realistic.
Right, because here's what happens with triggers, right? There's a difference between a reminder and a trigger.
Yeah.
See, I think that's what she's talking about, right? Like, you're looking for something to arrive. Like, right, like, I gotta arrive at this place, and I don't feel like you'll ever be there, right? I know specifically for me, it's year 5, but our bodies naturally have trigger responses.
Yeah.
So if I'm triggered by something related to my mom, I literally feel pain as if it was day 1.
Right.
So I think that we're going to have to, like, simultaneously, right? This is for me, I feel like we're simultaneously having joy and pain at the same time. Because while this is a joyous occasion, there's pain.
Yeah.
But the truth is, you know,
Yeah.
when you first called me and told me about this, I called one of my mentors, Donald Clay, and I asked Pastor Clay, I said, what is healing? He said, healing is not a destination, it's about being made whole and being at peace. So he said, you don't have to, when you say I'm healed, it just means I'm at peace. So,
But is that, but see,
because the truth, no, but let me ask a question though, with that term.
Okay.
You're at peace with not going to church.
Absolutely.
So you could be healed.
I sleep so good on Sundays.
But it hurts.
And I turn over.
But it hurts.
The thought of the situation may hurt.
When I think about the situation.
When you think about the situation.
But, so maybe you are healed because you're at peace with not going.
But it's painful. It's just like losing your mother. That's painful.
Right.
It's painful. But
I'm not looking for I think for me, the word healed is gone because healed gives me past tense and a period is like at the end of it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I just want to backtrack to it, you know, when he said, because he cries about it.
Yeah.
I had an experience with a friend, and I don't like to, with an old friend. I don't want to get into specifics and all that.
Okay.
But we were super close to the point where, I mean, we could finish each other's sentence. If I shared everything with her, you know what I mean? Everything. And I mean everything. So we had a little situation, and she basically just showed me her ass. But not only her and her family. Mother. Father.
Oh, wow.
It was like it was something I never expected to see. This is somebody who was a friend of mine from the age of 12. And her and I were going through something. And I just happened to be in town visiting her. And like she was, you know, how they say you throw a rock and you hide your hand or whatever. She was always that type of person.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, her mom said, oh, let's all talk about what happened yesterday. And I'm talking about, this was in 2010. So we're talking about 12 years ago. Let's all, 12 years. It's funny. The same thing. Yeah. And it was on Christmas Day. I'll never forget this. I had come to visit her in Atlanta. I was living in Jersey. Either way, and her mother said, let's talk about what happened, you know, whatever. And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm all like thinking we're about to talk as a family, you know, because this is her mom, her brother, everybody's there. And her mother came at me, yeah, because that shit, it was just so left field, but I didn't, and she was in on it. And I didn't even realize what was going on. You know what I mean? So I said, without getting into it, it was so hurtful.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the pain in that moment, because it was like, even when I think now, I would never do anything like that to any of my children's friends
Right.
as an adult.
Right.
You know, but either way, moving right along, it was to the point where every time I told that story, I would break down crying. And here's the funny thing.
You felt betrayed.
But yes, I felt so betrayed. I brought her along on a lot of things that I done did. I put her in position in a lot. Seriously, I'm just that type of person. Either way, it went on and on. So I would tell this story and I would cry about it. And then one day, trust me, I wrote about it. I wrote raps about it. I did everything. Mm-hmm. It got to the point where literally one day it just didn't hurt anymore. And you know why it didn't hurt anymore? Because I knew, first of all, what I did have to know was I wasn't completely innocent in all of it. You know? Mm. So you also got to know what you've invited into your life, what you put out. You know, you got to know the whole thing. You know, I'm not into being a victim. Now whatever her and her mother got to deal with and the way they came with their stuff, they got to deal with that. You know what I mean? But I took ownership in whatever was going on. Yeah. I even putting myself in that position, even trusting her mother to give me something other than what she gave. You know what I mean? And it wasn't about me necessarily. Well, I did heal. I healed from it, and it's definitely a trigger thing. So now when I meet friends, if I have new friends
that's
or
what
other
I was
friends,
going to ask.
when I have other friends, I'm careful. You know, I look at it, and I'm not as giving. Because I used to be super giving. And don't get it twisted. I don't let them owe to me in a way like, okay, you're not going to be nice to people. I'm always got the house open.
But see,
come over,
it just made me think about pain. Mm-hmm. And how pain literally makes you redefine yourself.
Absolutely. But that's good, though.
It is. But now you're not as vulnerable and open.
You're not supposed to be.
So let's go to
that's a part of becoming an adult.
But let's go to where
that's growing up.
Where we grew up in church. Mm-hmm. So if healing doesn't exist, what is deliverance?
Oh, that's what
I think healing does exist. I don't agree. I think healing does exist.
Well, I never said it didn't exist.
I think that deliverance is definitely different than healing. Because when I think about deliverance is I'm being delivered from something versus, and I think I'm being healed from something.
But you know, we use both of those words in church.
See, I don't.
I'm delivered from that pain, right. Or I'm delivered from that trauma.
Understood.
That's what I mean. I'm delivered from that experience.
Yep.
So I'm saying, does it exist? Or can you still be?
I think it's all a process.
Yeah,
because I'm gonna be honest with you. A paper cut is different for me than breaking my leg. It's a different pain, right?
And sometimes the residue of you breaking your leg will always be there.
Absolutely,
you may walk different healed, forever.
There it is.
So does that mean you're not healed because you walk different now?
Ooh.
The pain may be gone, but you walk different now.
And just because if you ain't changing, you staying the same.
I'm talking about from a broken leg.
It's supposed to change you. Your broken leg teaches you to walk different. You start watching out the cracks on the side of the road.
I like that.
You know what I mean? When you wear your high heels at first and you think you're gonna step, then you realize them things could break, and so you start walking carefully. That's how life goes.
Well,
if you keep doing the same thing, you're crazy.
I want to say I feel like shouting. Any shouting music?
I want to say this, Jason. I'm proud of you for elevating. Because I can see the elevation in you. And we want to affirm you right now that you are healed from that situation. Yes. Come on, clap it up for Jason.
Oh, yes.
Thanks, guys.
And we don't even care where that past. I'm not that we don't care where that past is, but it's so funny.
We don't.
Life will deliver to you whatever's supposed to come to you.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. Yeah. That situation needed to happen so that you can get out of there. Because had you stayed, there'd been further damage.
Yep.
Right? So I feel like things happen that we can't see in that moment, but it's supposed to happen. Yeah. Like even with my mom passing, she would say, "When I die, go and live." We are human beings, and I think honestly, it is a full cycle of pain and healing.
Yep.
That's what we're going to go through for our entire life, which comes with what Masada was talking about, change.
Yeah.
But when you love people, man, and now I can't love you, and I've been loving you my whole life.
That's some shit.
Come on, man. That's next level. Yeah. That's next level pain. Yeah. And so that's different for me than, a little boyfriend or something like that.
Like it's post-traumatic stress. Especially what you were saying, like seriously, like with the church, because you're going through all of you're loving this pastor, you're loving that's what I'm saying.
Period.
You and your mom are different in the sense of that you and mom, y'all love each other. This pastor is abusing you and you love him. You know what I mean? So that's really like post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's why that's a trigger for you like that. Hurt by it, by somebody you love so much that you decide to give love to. That is traumatic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's traumatic. Like you can go to sleep and wake up crying, and but then when you feel yourself get through it, like I'm telling you, for me in my situation, it's been like 4 months. I'm being honest, and so for me, it's like that thing of like still running to the window sometimes. You know what I mean? And just different things, and a lot of it was abuse, not physical, but a lot of it was just. I allowed somebody to emotionally abuse me. You know, in that post-traumatic stress disorder. I know. I can diagnose myself. I know.
So I want to ask this question. can we all agree that healing may be being at peace? Is healing being at peace? Is that when you feel like you're healed, when you're at peace with something? As we referenced to Jason,
I think so.
He's at peace with not going to church. He could be healed from the situation. Just because if he talks about it and he cries doesn't mean he's not healed.
But I don't know, and again, I can't talk about 10 years from now, right? I can only talk about now. Because there's even, for me, peace goes hand in hand with acceptance. Right? Like, and I'm still sometimes in like, I cannot believe that this lady is not here. Right? I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe that I can't leave here and call her and say, Mom, this podcast was amazing. Da 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 da. And so I think I have pockets of peace, but when I'm in that space or when I'm in a space, I'm not at peace.
And can I respond to that, Masada? I'm not at peace with death. And the truth is, I have pockets of it because I'm not feeling that right now. But when I lay down at night and it's dark and I'm laying by myself, I'm thinking like, what if I don't get up? Or what if I wake up and my mom don't get up with me?
Really?
So I'm dealing with that trauma every other night. So the truth is, I'm not at, because that's something that I'm dealing with.
So are you going to work on that?
I've been working on it all. I've been working on it all my life. It ain't nothing that I ain't working on. I'm just letting you know it's nothing. It's not. It's something that I'm not past. So the truth is,
and when you talked about deliverance, I feel like some things can be more immediate, and then there's other things that is a process. Right. But you're not acknowledging it, and I think that's the biggest piece, right? Because I feel like you can be in ignorance or you can be in denial of something.
And can I be honest with you? I'm gonna just be honest and I have to be honest and tell you about my experience. A lot of the trauma that I have faced has probably stemmed from the things that I have learned in religious forms, which is it's okay to die because you're gonna see him in heaven.
Glory.
So that has been something that we've been taught as kids, that you're gonna see him again, but no one has gone and told me how that is. So that's not good enough for me. You know what I mean? That's not me telling her you're gonna see her again in another life that's not this body. Is not going to change her.
Well, I think because none of us know what's next. None of us have died before, so.
Well, I believe in reincarnation, so
Yeah, and I get it. But the truth is, you can believe in it, but you ain't been there yet. You have not come back as a butterfly.
Or maybe
yet.
you have.
Erica.
I was about to say, listen,
I don't want to be a butterfly.
Maybe you're on another life right now.
Hilarious.
Grand Risings Queen.
I'm gonna let
Grand Risings Queen.
Hey, know I've been here before. That's
Hey
all I'm gonna
Queen,
say.
let me ask you this, Queen. Hey Queen, let me ask you this, Queen.
Oh my God.
If we could come back, what would you come back as?
A better me.
There you go. You see, we need an ensign in this moment.
A better me, if you could do that.
Okay, no, I'm asking you if you can come back as anything.
Ask me,
another person or an animal.
Let me ask it this way, because I think this gets better. Not as a human.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you came back as something else, what would you want to be?
That was the question.
As anything else?
Anything else. Not human.
A stop sign? What you want to be?
I don't want to be a stop
sign. If I could come back as anything else, I would love to be the sky.
If I
what a unique answer.
I'd fly away.
Okay, why?
Because if you're in the sky, you get to see all of the beautiful things.
Not in the sky, you would be the sky.
I would be the sky. So if I'm the sky,
okay,
I get to see. I'm not in one place. I'm everywhere, and I just get to see things. But the bad thing about that would be you get to see some traumatic stuff too. You know. I don't know. That's a quick answer though. I would have to really sit on that.
Yeah,
that's homework.
That's
homework.
Vaughn, what would you come back as?
I really don't know, Trey.
You got to give it to me though.
I got to give it to you. Let me see.
What would you come back?
Ain't no rock. No.
That's so church, Jason.
What would I come back at? Probably an elephant.
Oh.
You can come back as a big ass elephant.
All day. I'm big anyway. So I'll come back bigger.
You ain't no damn elephant.
No, I love elephants.
Okay.
I do. There's a whole thing to that. We ain't got time for that. But I would want to be an elephant.
I'm going to tell y'all what I would come back as.
As what?
This is going to be weird, and I just thought about it. I would come back as a dolphin.
Okay, why do you want to be a dolphin? See, you talking about my elephant.
Well, you know.
You want to have a long nose.
You go swimming with this dolphin. Are you going to be in Orlando?
Yeah, you want to be at SeaWorld.
Have you chosen a region
I'm
yet?
going to be honest with you.
Jay, what you want?
I want to be a tree.
I was going to say that at first.
Why would you want to be a tree?
I was scared they was going to cut me down. That's why I said. That's why I said.
Why would you want to be a tree?
I want to be a tree because
to be cut up into a chair?
No, I wouldn't be cut down because I'd be a good tree.
But those are the ones they want. Tell me anything.
Okay.
Dolphin boy.
I would have been a mermaid then. Exactly. I would have been a mermaid if we had to be an animal.
So hit a tree because you can cut me down and I'll still grow back.
Yeah, I'm trying to be in movement though.
We're gonna move.
Okay, I hear you.
That's what everybody wants to be.
You're standing in the same place the whole time.
That's true.
But I feel you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So out of everything that we talked about, y'all know my favorite question.
Oh God.
How do we elevate from this?
How do we elevate from this?
I think we keep going, right? I think we do the work. I do want to say this too, because I think that there can be an unhealthy place when it comes to us not doing work towards our own mental health, particularly with the climate of the world, and also with it even being World Mental Health Week and World Mental Health Day.
Yeah.
I think that it's important that if we need help, that we get it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking therapy, even though nobody's chair or couch is going to do anything for me in that regard. But I do feel like it's healthy for us to seek help where necessary and do things like this where we can talk things out
and self-care.
and have conversations.
Self-care
Totally.
is important. And I got to use this for an example real quick. I bought a house last year, and I thought that that's what I wanted in that moment. But I realized that my mental health, my mental place, I needed a view. I needed to be high.
You're creative, yeah.
As a creative, I need to be able to look out the window and see the city.
You weren't ready for that space. Were you?
Yeah, I just wasn't ready.
committed
And people, and I was appreciative of the people who responded the way I needed to hear it. Like, oh no, I get it. You're creative. You know what I mean? Maybe the house thing ain't for you until you are building a family. But I needed to get back into a high rise so that when I wake up and I can roll over and look out that view and that sun inspires me. So that's self-care for me.
Yeah.
I did something for me. Because a lot of times people say, oh, why would you spend all that money being in a high rise when you can go get a house? But the truth is, I never really wanted a house. I did it
You
because...
thought it was the next step most of the time. You think it's the next step. I did.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother
See,
podcast.
that's a whole
Let's be
other...
clear
We
about
got to
that.
wait till part
That's a whole
2
nother
for that.
podcast. The things that we do, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let me say this as far as how can we elevate from here. We spend a lot of time feeding ourselves food.
Yeah.
We'll eat, we'll get around people, we laugh, we do all of this, but nobody's really spending a lot of time feeding their mind.
Wow.
And that's how you elevate. And I'm saying that through, I don't care if you go to YouTube and you listen to the self-help videos, and because I do that all day. I spend so many hours on it. I'm gonna tell y'all gonna, it's funny. But that, and I'm not saying to do it just because I do it, but
Right,
that, reading, doing audiobooks if you don't like to read,
Yeah.
but it's all about feeding yourself. You have to feed your mind.
Yeah.
If you don't, and feed your mind properly, not just anything,
Yeah.
because that's where music comes in. A lot of people, like all these rappers we mentioned today, you listen to a lot of hip hop. Sometimes, I'm not saying everybody here, but sometimes the message isn't always a good message.
There's a lot of us walking around with facades and masks
Yeah.
because we're not honest with us. So like part of my mirror work has been self-discovery and like, who are you? Because I didn't know who I was without her. And I had to redefine that. It was almost like, again, starting from scratch. But I feel like if we're not real, then we can't get to the honest truth. And so we're saying like, I'm sad, but what we do is we mask it with anger. No, you're really sad.
Right.
Or you're disappointed.
Yeah.
Or you're hurt.
Yeah.
But we don't get to the root. So we stay surface.
Yeah.
So I feel like we got to get real honest with ourselves and those around us so that we can be real. And I think that's how we free ourselves.
Yeah.
So I would say let's dedicate to doing something for ourselves this week, and doing something for you, self-care, and whatever that is for you. Like Sada said, audiobooks, the
Love
right
it.
music.
Love it.
Sometimes I can't even listen to words because words trigger me. I could put on a love song right now that'll have me going through the phone book, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because
which book?
the phone book.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes I can't handle.
And that
poetry.
comes with knowing thyself.
Sometimes I can't handle the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. As much as we love music,
What you said.
but we know that can shift our whole.
And that's why you shouldn't always ask people what it is you should do, because guess what? That goes back to everything you need. You need being inside of you.
That's true.
You know what you should do.
I agree.
You just feel like talking.
Yeah.
Amen.
Or need somebody to affirm you.
Yes.
We want affirmation so bad.
Yes.
Down.
We want affirmation down.
Y'all see he just name dropped, right?
I heard him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard. I said,
He's
he
done
got
it a few
shades on.
times.
He
Yeah.
got shades on. What do you think is gonna
I
happen?
mean, I know
That's
a
a
few
lot.
people.
Okay. We know.
Jason, I want to ask you a question. What are you going to do this week for yourself to celebrate your healing?
I'm coming out.
Been there, done that.
Not that, in that way. What you gonna do for you? I didn't mean it that way. Not in a fruity way.
There's a little sweetness to
Right,
this.
I did not mean it that way.
I don't know. I think for me, getting out of the house is self-care because I'm always at home.
We have to beg you to get here.
I work from home. You are very nasty young man. I work from home. And so, just getting out and like doing silly shit like going to the mall. Like I'm probably not gonna buy nothing.
Yeah.
I can though.
But that's good.
I can buy a lot.
I can though.
Yeah.
But just going to the mall, going out.
Drinks on Jack.
Yeah.
Look now.
Yeah. But that's powerful and therapeutic. A lot of times I live across the street from the mall. A lot of times I walk in a circle. And I used to talk about older people that did that back in the day in Pittsburgh. You go to the mall.
Them just going to the mall
and see a nigga just walking around. But I do that
Yeah.
now. Just be looking, and sometimes I need that for my own sanity. And
Yeah.
peace, so I think
And human interaction.
Yep.
Even
Yeah.
just catching a vibe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Come on, this is amazing first podcast, the Millions Choice Podcast. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. We are super excited. Listen, if you have not yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Travis Malloy TV, where you can catch this podcast. We just excited. It's going crazy.
Big ups to you for the vision,
Absolutely.
though.
Thank you so much for having
Bringing
us.
this to life. We appreciate
We honor you,
I'm so
visionary.
happy to-
We honor you
tonight.
Trailblazer.
I wish I wish I was sitting in a big wicker chair right
We
now.
honor you, Grammy nominated.
You had a baby shower.
Visionary.
Okay. I'm so honored that you all support the vision that God gave me to bring us together to change the world.